actually goes live. Exactly at 11 o'clock. Well, I did say 10 to 11, so pardon me for being a tad bit late in the starting department. One, one, one. One. Pa. Okay. I right click that thing. Filters. Let's increase this a bit. Pardon the flashing chat. I'm just trying to get things working. Oh, 10 more. Okay. Pa. 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 Okay, a bit too much. There we go. Bam. One. Bam. Ba. 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 This seems good. Sorry, I was trying to sync my microphone with, well, my video, making sure everything's working properly. Hold on. Emerald Hazard, is this the Hazard from the Discord? Nice old thanks for the enormous explosive reactive armor. All right. Right. Now, let me just make my interface a bit larger, and then we should be gold. I'm streaming in a world that I haven't been to in quite a long while. Several months, I believe. So it's taking a bit to have all the angles I used to use working again. Hello, Matthew. Oh, you would know. Okay, so that's been one. Yes, you are going to join me in setup. So, oops, hello, behavior, smoothed, look at me. Level roll. I have a feeling my interface is not where it should be. There, a bit. Matthew subscribed for 9 months in a row. My goodness, Matthew. Really? 9 months? Thank you. Gotta make it cinematic, of course. There we go. Right. That's bin 2. Bin 3 is going to be our smooth auto level roll flying. Full body cam, so there's. Oh, I'm in the chair. Should I put it at that angle here? Wow, whoa, no, hi. There we go. A bit zoomed out. Coffee tables in the way. Flying focus, semi-auto here. Vesper's not with us this fine morning, so it's just yours truly. Oh, God, of course I closed my overlay. Let's reopen that again. Load. Anyway. Did you have a nap? You sound like you just woke up. Yes, I did actually, Matthew. I took a grand 2-hour nap. I was getting the rest in that you, my friends, were suggesting I get. Why, if it isn't Beth and Litz, two sides of the same coin. One reluctantly. Demon King. Hero. Chores come first. Do what you have to do first, V. How are you doing, Gab? Well, I am clearly have yet to get the blood up to working pressure. Like I just woke up not too long ago. And last, here we are. Live. Hi, Fluffy. I feel like I missed some messages. Did I? Can I expand the chat? Make it a teeny tiny bit. No, 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 no. And I messed everything up. Hello, Gavin. Everybody says Waffle. Oh, it's been a while, Waffle. How are you? Fancy seeing you here. Oh, audio quality went way better. Really? Compared to before. Yeah, my microphone before was a tad bit too crunchy. This has a better placement and yes. Hi there. I'll call you VN because you have a funny name. Oh, if it isn't Blade Wing, hi. It's been a while, buddy. How are you over at your own place again? Achievement unlocked. VN, hail the crunch. Nobody told me my audio last time was a tad bit unbalanced. Gosh. So if I take this one off, will it be more balanced? There we go. I can finally hear myself. There's such a thing when it comes to recording your voice, and it's this feature called side tone. Side tone is where essentially your microphone is in a pass-through mode where you hear your voice in real time as well. Of course, you adjust the gain. It's so you're not thrown off. I guess it's the same difficulty as people with hearing impediments go through. They can't quite talk and pronounce words properly, right? Because they can't hear their own voice. Hello, Gab. I hope you're doing well. I'll be lurking while I'm at work. Much love. Well, same to you. Side hustle job. I mean, the audio, including the background music, just went way higher quality. It's a bit more bassy. And it startles a little bit. Ripple Spiral, a visitor from Instagram, has decided to grace us with a hello on stream. Hi, welcome to the live version of the stuff you like. Done. This is too in my face. Let's put that there. Luck. No. Calibrate. Geb has most definitely had an improvement in the voice with the new mic. Thank you, Vance. Well, happy birthday to you, Randex. Hope you have another wonderful year before you. Evident night. Ah, yes. During my last stream, The ending part sort of got a bit of a stretch is what I would call it. I said everybody that the curtains have been drawn and the show is finished. But many people still want to linger on. So, in theory, if I use that logic and say my stream is over now, I use it later. Hello, driver. This is my first time catching your live, says Kova 12. I wish I could stay longer, but I have work. Work? Well, good luck at whatever tasks you have ahead of you. Speaking of work, I finally managed to I finally managed to play some games again today. Oh, thank goodness, after so long. Couple of weeks. Sit your butt on the couch, grab your controller, load up a lobby, and shoot some Terminids, bots, or the Illuminate. It's refreshing. I didn't know Helldivers 2 had so much new stuff on it. Most definitely have to catch up. Guns are better than the state I left them at before. Sadly, I recall Arrowhead going a unfun direction with the balance changes. It's a PvE game. Nerfing weapons, really? No. I'm about to hell die with Fluffy. Well, I will probably go play after I have my VR chat stuff sorted. You guys go ahead and have fun. Say hello to your democratic officer for me. I remember him saying, there is but one definitive path to peace, and that is the path of war or something like that. I love his lines. I've been compiling it. Something about there is no greater freedom than the freedom of thought. Or from thought. Yeah, from. I'm leaving in 5 minutes, says Beth. Again, before continuing the stream for an hour and a half more. What can I say? I can't just leave all of you hanging now, right? Oh, come on. I'm doing the same talk I would if my stream would be ending. I'm only 12 minutes in. How could I possibly depart so soon? Also, hold on. My thingies came out. After Helldivers came to Xbox, the spike in divers was shocking. Oh, yeah, it's perfect timing for the ODST Warband too, right? I won't be able to stay that long, but yes. I still have no idea what Emerald does for a living. It could all be adjusting things for tags, stocking ammunition, general maintenance. Could be a secret agent for all we know. Try to sneak in some time in Discord. Drax says, I haven't played Helldivers 2 in a year because they kept nerfing weapons and making the game less fun and more difficult even though it's a PvE game. My point exactly. Instead of nerfing the OP weapons, we use the other weapons. They should buff the other. Exactly. I remember the era where everybody was just running the breaker. If you chose anything else, well, that's it. The meta. Of course. Breaker time or best times. It was effective, sure, but it made every other armament useless, boring. There was really any diversity in the loadouts. Let's see. Maybe we increase the volume a teeny bit. Who needs a breaker when you have a flamethrower? Oh, I did see that warband. There was this flamethrower pistol, your flamethrower main armament, and then you have the flamethrower support weapon. You know, I have made a promise once I play Hail. Well, when I picked up Helldivers again. And that would be to forego any form of beam or laser weaponry in any and all games that involve choices between optical weapons, plasma, versus ballistics. I was always more of good old gunpowder and lead. So, yes, may not be the meta, but you're gonna see me running ARs. Ah, yes, Axiom shooting Geb, yes. Yeah, so you see, Axiom hasn't been in Helldivers in a while, too. And he decided to go join me as I was exploring the Gloom, the Terminid planet. My goodness, their cave systems was both refreshing and challenging at the same time. Having no access to your super destroyer, your stratagems, reinforcements only from the cracks in the ceiling. It really does put a big element of strategy to your game. It's like playing with your mission timer being depleted. This VN says, now I want to hop on Helldivers 2 after work today. All this stratagem talk, I gotta grind a lot this week. Same here, I am sorely lacking in metals. Ironically, I haven't unlocked the ODST DLC. I'm still trying to work my way up from, yes, that part. Also, hi, Mystic, I catch you later. Thanks for dropping by, I appreciate it. Hello, Saren. I wonder if you're ever gonna try Tarkov. How about this? I haven't been able to justify getting into it yet, but I am an avid King of the Hill enjoyer in Arma 3 and Reforger. If you sponsor my entry, sure, I can't say no. I remember when Tarkov was described as soul crushing and depressing back then. Which intrigues me even more. I've looked at how the game works, the different types of ammunition, the energy levels of the the ballistic sets. Sorry, I don't know the proper term. The ballistic systems of the game and the armor is actually spectacular. It's cool. And then there's a PVE mode. Sign me in. Oh, it is. Yeah. What's the best ammunition in Tarkov? The one you don't have on you. Oh, of course, it wants to be peppered with bullets. But yeah, sure. I don't mind playing. Yesterday, I saw Bev all on his lonesome by the VC. Either that or also on a super destroyer. I said, you know what, I want to play. But I was so sleepy. I couldn't get myself to start up the game. What's this? Why, Saren has subscribed for Tier 1. The start of a long journey. Probably. I don't even know what I'm saying. My head is still not yet awake. Thank you so much, Saren. Litz says I always used to carry the heavy stuff weaponry in Helldivers. Litz plays Helldivers? Are you telling me you could have played with me yesterday when I was warming up? Also, when I play Helldivers, I kind of want to get immersed in the role, so there may be compatibilities with me that you have to work with. I always tell myself, I used to be an ex-commie over at, what's this? Prosperity at Sea? Was that the mega city of the Chinese? I don't have it downloaded now, but yes. Let's, if you grab it, I will be more than happy to play with you. Comrade. Comrade. Yes. Oh, I would make more jokes about it, but we are steeping dangerously close to the territory of politics. Funny, the game is a satire on politics as a whole. I started playing Helldivers again, says the Hazard. There you're Hazard. And it's such a blast. Oh, it is. I'm actually having fun. Yesterday, when I loaded up the game, I dropped into, what was the planet? Felmire, I think it was the bots. And I just started to appreciate the scenery. I know, it's strange. It was a trivial difficulty thing. I just wanted to get my boots back on the ground and have a feel of the atmosphere. Once you pause and not focus on the chaos for a good 1 minute or so, you're gonna realize the game is very close to the aesthetics that Death Stranding has. Finally done with chores, says Vesper. Ah, well, congratulations on being free. Helldivers is satire. I will once you get back home. I look forward to playing with Litz and Bev. Spreading managed democracy to every corner of the galaxy does sound fun once you are alongside your friends. See you around, Litz. Yami, why are you? Nobody redeemed it yet, Yami. You should keep quiet. Sorry, that was my cat chat. Not sure if my microphone picked that up. You know, I remember not yesterday, the other day, when I was complaining about the chest strap of my tracker giving me back pain. I said it was akin to a sports bra because of how tight it was. And I'm talking about the brand EOZ chest strap for Vive trackers. And you know what I did? I brought out my $3 GoPro harness. I put on like the little clip, the quick release clip with a threaded adapter for a camera, and I put my Vives there. 10 times more comfortable. For a fraction of the price. Gebus versus the new Hive Lord. My money is on Geb. The Hive Lord, oh dear. I have heard much about that abomination. Hundreds of thousands of health. I think 150k. I'm sure it is no challenge that can't be undefeated. I'm doing good, Leonardo, thanks. I would jump scare myself all the time because I get distracted by the environment of non-liberated planets. Going around and there's a hunter sniffing at me. Probably just a curious critter. Well, curious about how you taste, that is. Hi there, Pure Pat. Let's see how my angles are working. I think this is better. I'm excited. Excited for what? Do share. I went to take off my clothes while in the washing room, says Matthew. What did I miss? Oh, did I miss much? Me warming up the stream, fumbling with my words, my English as usual. Gosh. Oh yeah, I remember. I remember hopping into that world before. It was janky and bare bones. Not something I would commend in its current state. Being out there in the city gates trying to deal with those hornet looking things along with the warthogs. Already on Sword Art lore, says Matthew. We just don't realize it. Oh, is that so? Why, if it isn't Doran? Hi there. What were your famous last words when I dropped into VC while you were playing Helldivers? This is hell, this is hell. Still managed to speak it better than I do. I try. How many languages do you speak again, Gab? Two, officially. I speak English, and marunong din ako mag-Tagalog. To those of you watching from the Philippines, Caves was hell, but I heard this is hell, and regardless, that's what you signed up for, right? Yeah, you and Blue go take that side of things. So far, I've only been able to play on what was difficulty 7. Was it challenging? Oh, why if it isn't many? Hi there. How are you? Everything okay on this fine day? Yeah. Straight to 10, huh? I don't mind trying a super hail time, sure. I haven't unlocked all the weapons yet. Far from it. I'm only level 60. But I'm sure I can properly lend a hand with my marksmanship. I heard speech of democracy. Yes. Of course. We were talking about Helldivers, Mini. You see, I recently picked up the game, and apparently a bunch of the people over at my Discord has picked up on it too. And I was expressing how there's a lot of nice, wonderful things, like weapons, worlds, the graphics is nice as I remember. The buffs especially is very much appreciated. Maybe I can play my Jar Dominator or the Eruptor again. Oh, you picked it up too, huh? So later, the ones that are gonna download the game is Litz. And I think, yeah, Litz is the one who's gonna download it. And the one who recently got back to it was Hazard. Bev has been inviting me to play. Just use the mortar and axe. You know, there is a joy to have an indirect fire land just next to you or your teammate. It's a good thing I have practiced well my ways of apologizing. Whoops. My bad. I saw Halo mixing and said I was back. One of these days I'm gonna drop in VC and then maybe we can play. Matthew, I got more details about. Nah, never mind. It's not interesting anyway. My condolences to on your kneecaps. On your kneecaps. That's a funny way. Don't warn anyone about the mines. Oh my goodness. Chat, a friendly fire from me is completely accidental and no sarcasm in that. I'm actually not a big fan of when you do it on purpose on a friend. It's funny once. It gets irritating the second time. When it's completely accidental and uncalled for, it's glorious. But then I guess my bad experience from friendly fire in Helldivers stemmed back then during the early days of spreading managed democracy. It was the era of Malevolent Creek. Many of us would want to focus on the missions, get the samples, get this and that up and running, eliminate this. And then as we were about to exfil from the combat zone, we would have teammates that would either shove you out of the Pelican, sure, that's okay, lower mission rewards, or they would kick you out of the lobby completely. That's why I never play in public sessions anymore. Hi there, lizard thing. Yes. It's only funny when I'm trying to attack Axiom after the level ends on EDF. EDF, yes, my beloved. It's like Helldivers, but times 10 with the explosions and everything else. And the number of enemies, too. Yeah, sure, there's no harm in getting back into the game. If there is one big wish that I have that Arrowhead could put in Helldivers is 8-player squads or raids. It would be bigger missions to have more Helldivers in. 4 is a little bit restrictive for all the chaos that is possible. Beth says, yeah, I was happy when they made it so kicks just throw you into a solo instance, right? Nothing was more frustrating than losing everything you worked hard for the past 20 minutes. The 380 strike, right? .380mm caliber shells. Beautiful. Dreadnought caliber. Eight napalms. Need another coffee? Please. I keep my caffeine intake low. My body doesn't do so well with it. Jitters, anxiety, palpitations, you name it. Doesn't stop me from enjoying the flavor every now and then, though. Blessed are the lives of Bev here, who has high tolerance to caffeine. Me, unfortunately, I'm not blessed in that department. So yeah. Hello, Wacko. Seeing a bunch of new names on stream today, welcome. How unfortunate, coffee is delicious. I know, I was commenting about the flavor, the aroma of roasted beans, just setting the atmosphere in a scentless room. It's good. You get used to the palpitations. I think coffee is the opposite of anxiety meds, except you get to enjoy coffee more. My caffeine tolerance is not very nice as Traxor. No, because it starts to lose its magic. I can imagine. A kobold drops by. Hi there. True. I don't drink soda. I don't drink energy drinks. I'm bland. All I have is juice, tea, and chocolate milk. Sake, maybe. Korean rice wine. Makes your meals go down nice and warm. But aside from that, not really. I know how bad sugar is for the body, so as early on as now, I want to have as little of it in me.
There's a girl here and she's almost you. Almost all the things that you promised with your eyes. I see in
Not many brown cows over there. Oh, yes, because that's where chocolate milk comes from. You sound like a villain in a movie. What? He who drinks nothing but the basics. Vesper says, bland. Gab, you're a grown man and unashamed to say you like chocolate milk. You don't sit there pretending to be all tough. You are just without needing to act edgy to try to seem tough. That's true. A lot of people say, I can go on without sleep. Who needs it? Energy drinks, please. I had 3 of it. Well, unless you're in the era of trying to prove yourself cool, or just trying to fit in with our very, very tired set of workers in society, there's no real reason to gloat over these things. Unless you readily embrace the decline in your health that such habits bring upon you.
that you promised with your eyes. I see in yours too.
You see, I want to enjoy life while being an old man. Not enjoy life while you're still young.
Almost you. Almost me.
Vesper says, I don't sleep already down 3 energy drinks. Sounds like you're mentally unstable and need some help I cannot provide. True. But ironically, isn't that the field of study you're into right now? Psychology, no? Ah, yes. Helping the troubled people that walk into your office sort their tangled minds out. It's like having a friend that actually gives you the real talk, except you pay them by the hour. Hello, Thor. Then again, circling back to me going about bad habits, my line of danger is not with substances and food, things you consume. It's probably me being an avid motorcyclist. I remember Beth being hesitant to support my little funding of a Africa twin after hearing that I like to see the wheels of my motorcycle lift off the ground for a couple of seconds, yes. Beth says, I don't know how people push through that. Same here. Maybe when I was in college, perchance, yes, I could manage, but yeah, no. Definitely not saving up Zenny for the M word, says Blue. The M word, the one that ends with W. Ah. You'll get there eventually. I'm sure of it. I'm happy with 6 hours somehow. Well, I'm glad you can manage with that amount, Minnie. I myself have a strange sleeping schedule. I just sleep when I'm sleeping and wake up when I wake up. I don't really follow any hours. I know I had gotta have a minimum, like 1 hour, but a maximum is just whenever my eyes decide to open. Vesper says, Geb the hobbyist. I like collecting crystals, stuffed animals, and dolls. However, I'm in college. I need to save rather than collect. Smart. You're not blowing the little money you earn on partying and other unnecessary stuff. Geb sounded like a parent. Oh, please. I just have a humble 1000 cc's on my verses. It's not a race bike by any means. I saw 2 Africa twins yesterday. If only one of them could have my name on it, I would be a very happy man. One day, Geb, one day. We get there. Oh. Be fun. I got the worst McNuggets, the spicy ones. Spicy ones? They're the worst? In what way? I mean, I like spicy food. Vesper says, yeah, not blowing it on parties, illicit substances, or any of the hobbies that tend to be costly. Unfortunately, as much as I like to bake, I have to buy the ingredients myself if I want to. I'm the dullest college student you could see. I wouldn't call you dull, I would call you wise. Saying the spicy ones are bad is sacrilege, according to Beth. Yeah. Especially when they're well prepared and everything. I saw your snickerdoodles last night, Axel. They look like little poots of dough and you tossed it in an oven. That's true. It's only bad when it's no flavor and only spice. Some products tend to do that, but with sugar instead. It's all sweetness that you're consuming, but no actual substance. Why, if it isn't Ignacia Ice Bread. Good morning, Gabos. I hope you've been doing well lately. Good morning. I'm okay. I just finished my move. If it's not Thai hot, I don't want to eat it. Ah, so you're like sile, like the red chilies. Red chilies. Hmm. Hello, Grody. I can't handle spicy foods either, as I have acid reflux, according to Icebread. Oh dear. I take it this is the one that's gonna revolve. There's a dragon roach. Clearly not here on stream, right, Blue? Why the big fuss? Damn, I'm out of food today, huh? I should have stocked up earlier this evening. Now I gotta order something for lunch instead. Expenses. Also, sorry. I'm bored, so I'm playing around with the camera. Mika Stardust says, "Hey Gib, I'm finally able to catch a stream. Aye. Oh, nose is itchy. Chat, is there anything wrong with my audio? I can't quite monitor it properly. Would the audio be lagging behind my actual movements, or are my lips in sync? Is it too crunchy or what not? Please let me know. I think you're just fine, says Drax. Thank you, Tiger B. Audio sounds great in sync. Sweet. In sync, you're good. Thank you, guys. Just curious. Cross it. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm inside the chair again. Oh, well. The sound looks fine. Okay. Expenses, yes, says Doro. I have like 50 euros in my wallet and just wasted 10 on those spicy nuggets. You know, up to this day, I still feel bad splurging on food. Like, I grew up having to pay for food that's just enough to sate you and keep you full for that meal cycle. And then I see people spending like 5 times, 6 times the amount in restaurants. I'm like, that seems really impractical. Goodness me. But don't get me wrong, I do love me a good meal every now and then. What is this if it isn't Kodaline? Other Kodaline, thank you for dropping by. Last stream was cut a bit short, wasn't it? But here we are. And thank you so much for the sub. You didn't have to. I said I'd be back earlier. Gosh, you make it sound like my stream was but a few hours prior. Welcome all the same. How is the noodle doing today? Any new crafts to impress everybody with? I saw your recent avatar, the totally not shell from Aperture Science. Surviving and yelling at Unity as usual. Please, you got this. It's. Vesper says, yes, a sucky thing is like $14 for a thing of pasta last time I ordered out myself as it only covers 2 meals. Dinner the night before and lunch the day after. $14. Ew. Found you through Instagram. I love your vibes and your choice of music. Thanks. What's this? So you like motorcycles? Any other motor or outdoor hobbies? It's all motorcycle related. Geb, no music this time. There is. I just keep my music not that high so people can actually hear me. I hope folks enjoy the avatar and outfits I make. Mostly I'm trying to update my Jex, and the face tracking plus VRC Fear's been fighting me the whole way. Ah. The most I can do is I tried making an avatar from scratch following YouTube tutorials like a year and a half ago. I managed to make one. Would I do it again? No. Headache. But kit bashing is a very fun thing I've recently discovered that I have to still refine a lot of things on. I also try not to waste my whole paycheck on food, but my life cycle has really strict time windows. So the fast food is the best option. Ah, okay. Gotcha. Understandable, understandable. What's this? I learned via mucking around with others' work. It's a good way. Well, same here. Reverse engineering is like, oh, so that's how they did it. They hid it via shape keys. Clever. What? There's an extra bone on the chest, even though it's not part of the standard armature. Oh, nice trick. Sort of deal, yeah? Says, hello, Gab, says Ariel Silver. I was wondering, what's your favorite way to induce ego death? Ego death? Are we talking about like mushrooms or something here? that's the only time I encounter that term. From a friend, of course. Ego death, that is, from my limited understanding on the term, completely letting go of yourself or something, right? I don't know. That seems like such a big word to me. All I practice really is humility, if that helps. I don't let achievements, I don't let gold medals, I don't let anything really be my front when it comes to presenting to other people. If I see myself elevated, standing on a pedestal because of circumstances compared to who I'm talking to, I try my best to subtly put myself down. That's something a lot of people are unable to do. They would immediately, like mid-conversation, you're sharing, oh yeah, I like motorcycles and I've been to this beautiful forest and whatnot. And it's like, yeah, I've been there too, man, on my like S1000RR. And like they would gloat, they would try their best to huff off their chest to sound impressive. It actually achieves the complete opposite effect. It makes you look smaller. I don't know. Humility seems like such a basic concept that a lot of people are unable to grasp. You have something against the S1000. I have a friend with the S1000, Fluffy. He has the whole he removed the catalytic converter. He has the wing mirror thingies and that folds. And he has a shorty. Yeah, the Austin Racing shorty thing that is obnoxiously loud. I was like, why are you doing all this? So I sound cool, man. Why? What's your problem? I was like, he's immediately on the defensive about it. Like, whoa. I was just asking. I like riding my motorcycle the way it was designed. Smooth, quiet, premium, elegant on the road. Hello, dog. Kage says, that's why I don't like to presume on anything. Maybe I'm being too humble. Nah, the moment you say you're too humble, you are letting go of your humility. You ever wonder why masters, the true ones, are often the most silent in a room? It's a common trope in anime. You have the hot-blooded redhead who's all gloating and everything, and he ends up embarrassed because this because his pride swells up so much to a degree that he can't see his own 2 feet before him, and he stumbles onto the ground. I have a very, how should I say this, grounded and neutral take on things. It's hard to rile me up to any one side or the other. Dora says I love motorcycles, though I don't have mine yet because I'm waiting to take the driver's license test. Ah, of course. I love my S1K, but I'll never brag about it. I will change things to my liking, but not to impress. Yes, precisely. You just do it because you want to. If your reason is to impress other people and not yourself, you have to question your choices. There's a saying, empty vessels make the most noise. Precisely. Ariel Silver says, ego death is basically deconstructing and rebuilding yourself. Usually happens when you look within and don't like what you see. You mean you reflect upon your actions and become a better person? Yeah, I think that's something we all want to have and achieve. Why if it isn't Pierre? Hi there. Oh, storybook-esque artist. I love your art style. I really do. It's got such charm to it. I dare say I would wish to print some of them and have them as little bookmarks or posters I can hang around my new apartment. Same with all of the fan art I've been getting. It's heartwarming, really. Work over for today. I sure know what Ashel will be doing next. Donald says, I still remember when I had my moped. I love that thing. No one was riding it without the license. I see. Pierre says, popping in to lurk a little before I go out. Thank you so much for the compliments. You're very kind. Of course, you deserve it. Lovely art. You already know. Classes time. Oh, joy. Classes. One of the traits I like would be wittiness combined with humility. I think that's what Beth here embodies really well. You know, he's one of my biggest supporters on stream, really. He's uplifted my living conditions along with the rest of the team. Hooray. A whole lot. And when I ran into the person in VR, not once did I feel what one would normally feel. Fear, right? Which is, oh gosh, like you owe the person or what. No, he was just such a chill guy. He's just fun to be with. You kind of remind me of the cool uncle or dad my friend has that I wish I had as my own. It's a little jokes and the little dad prods on the humor. I hope there's more people like you, Beth. So, I mean it when I say this. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. All the help, all the good things that you've been throwing my way. He's a menace, but a fun guy. Exactly, he's fun to be around with, and so is the rest of the people in the community. Such varied personalities, right? We have Bev, we have Blue, and this girl best friend. And we have Nordex. And we have Minnie. We have Crystal who's showing up more. I can name so much more. There's Axel. There's Mitzi. There's Drax. Thank you, Zodiac. Mika says, do you hang out in VR chat outside of stream? Oh yeah, I host community meets probably like around every week, every other week. These are the official ones. I try to target at least once a month, so everybody has a chance to meet and greet, and make friends, or say hello. Unofficial ones, they just sort of happen after every stream, unless I'm really sleepy. I linger on for a couple of more hours. Or if it's a free day and I don't have anything to do, something which I didn't have for the past 2 weeks because I was moving, I just hop on VR chat and say hello. Mechatronic Dragon would know this. Vesper would know this. Axiom, my regular friends. Just sit around, explore, maybe drop by Mystic's roller coaster. I when I'm in VR chat, it's two things I do. The same thing on stream, except with company. Just enjoying the view, having light conversation. Or I would be in horror worlds with friends. And we would all be terrified. Oohs, ahs. One day, Hazard, we have... Didn't you say you got the headset? Or am I misremembering? You're always welcome to join. Horror world. Beth, have you been to any of the... Once you get your big screen, you, me, rest of the gang, we're going like world hopping in horror worlds. To be fair, I've only been to maybe no more than 10 horror worlds the entire time I was in VR chat. We definitely have to drag Elitza along. That'd be funny. That'd be really funny. Damn, I'm feeling kinda hungry. Unfortunately, I was not able to stock up on food during dinner as I normally would, so I am a bit troubled about what to do for lunch or breakfast. I'll figure something out. I got scammed out of 2 avatars. I know, what, $500? And that's not a small amount. Gosh. Emerald, I stand by the advice I give. Only really work with people who has another reputable person vouching for them. I'm sorry to hear about the avatar situation. I hope you get yours acquired soonest. I get my headset hopefully by the end of the year. Looking forward to it. I don't know if my old heart could take it, but you... You know what my heart can take? This fantastic lasagna here that has been given over at Throne. Thank you so much for the past how do I say this? Come on, calibrate hands. Thank you so much for the pastastic delight. I haven't had lasagna in a long while, now that I think about it. What did Vesper say? My birthday is on October, so the thought of playing Horror Worlds in VR chat really excites me. If you've seen me, you know how much I love Halloween. Oh, of course. I look forward to our little adventures. Now that I'm settled in again in my apartment, my move is pretty much finished. I will have much more time for both video games and being able to socialize in VR chat. For pretty much past the 2 weeks of me being busy, I've only been in VR chat for streams. And I haven't been able to catch up with my friends or pretty much anybody. Lucky I was able to host a community meetup last time. To make up for the stream I wasn't able to go on with last Friday. There's some good worlds. Minnie, you are a veteran when it comes to scares. I have no doubt that the ones you would suggest would be most excellent. Please give me the ones that are terrifying and synced with other people. I'm always looking for a good fright with friends. No, like legitimately, please DM me. Mini Sauri here recently showed me a group in VR chat that was about, well, essentially hosting what they call hunts, and it's essentially about scaring people who like attend willingly. It's a scare house, and they do such a great job at it. I've seen the showcases, and it's also an active community. I'm frankly impressed. The staff go through so much effort to give you a meaningful experience that I do believe they deserve all the support and praise that is being thrown their end. I wish I could remember the name, but yes. What was the last good horror map that I attended in VR chat? It was a Japanese world. It was you going through an alley, there was something stalking you. And I was with Matthew Sunseeker then. He and Axiom 0% cannot stand horror because of reasons. And let's just say that you enjoyed it and enjoyed it so much, one of them immediately hopped out of the instance. Yes, it's Japanese. See you around, VN. Club Mall, yes, spooky. Now, I was shown something else as well, but I think those are things left best undiscussed during live. Won't want to spoil you. What's this? Axel says I need to figure out how to ask my school's IT if they block connecting devices over Wi-Fi. Axel, the quickest solution to that is simply buying a USB adapter and then make a hotspot with your computer. As unadvisable as it is, that is actually one of the methods I've been using before when I had unreliable 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. I didn't have a good router back then. I just tethered straight to my computer. You know, sometimes the motherboards come with funny little free antennas, and then you just click the lower right of your taskbar and then hotspot. Up to 8 devices. What is your favorite scary movie? I recently rewatched this movie called Event Horizon. It's about a ship that's been lost for a while in space, and then it reemerges in normal space. But where has it been all this time is the question. Clearly not another alien world. No, not with what happened to the staff, the crew, its passengers. It's an intriguing movie. Sure, the plot is a bit dated for today's standards, and so are the effects, but the concept intrigues me. It's a very accurate depiction of what it would be like to traverse the warp in 40K and come out with consequences at all. So yeah, there's also the spear. Don't Breathe is the one I saw in cinemas. Oh. I may look into that, says Axel. They might not like it though. They get mad at me having a little network switch. No network switch needed. It's just literally a USB Wi-Fi adapter you can buy for like $15. It's a stick. You plug it on the side of your lap or your PC, and then two little like antennas pop up, and that's it. You can just rename it as, and then you can rename the hotspot as something like Chinese. so they don't suspect it's you. Spooky, says French Fry. Are you in your new apartment? Curiously asked Marnage. So I haven't seen you live in a while. Yes, I have. Just the other day I finished my move. That was a long 2-3 weeks. Equinox says, okay, so I'm loving this community here. I'm new to the VR world, having just built my PC and gotten my first headset. Quest Pro. Ah, good choice. Does anybody have any good stuff or tips on Look at Abby's? Yeah. First thing I can suggest is go to this world called Polygon Studios. Pawlygon. So you have a taste of avatars with pretty good face tracking. And then you can go to Prismix as well if you wish to search for avatars. And yeah, you go on from there. An hour and 12 minutes in, huh? And don't commission someone you don't know for avatars. 100%. Dang, I'm hungry. Ugh. Mystic DM'd me. Remember, blue and green, you're welcome to join. You catch the bonk if you say you wasn't sure that you... Okay. You're going to be a bit late at the party, says Vesper, because of chores, but mind if I pop? Of course, of course. Vesper, you're more than welcome to join stream. What's this? I know it's not really helping for September expenses. Whoa, what is this, Fluffy? Sending me funny numbers. I hope the move goes well for it. Did. There was a lot of unexpected hiccups, but we did it, gang. We did it. I know what it is. I'm just. Thank you so much, Fluffy. I appreciate it. And yes, your S1000K is an absolutely beautiful machine. There, in case you needed to hear it from a Kawasaki owner. I do envy how you have like 30 to 40 more horsepower than I do, despite having the same liter engine. But yes. So what's gonna happen is, When I go to where Fluffy is, I'm most definitely gonna borrow his bike. And then I'm gonna ride around in shorts and probably just jeans with no helmet and get caught on a speed cam. Somebody's gonna record it and then they're gonna run the plate number on it and then trace it back to Fluffy. I'd say, yep, it's totally him, not me. There was a helmet, you can't identify me. You're invited. I will try my best to finally learn how to wheelie on his bike. Vesper got conned with the Avatar too, hasn't she? Yeah. Oh, speaking of Vesper. How close can you zoom? Usefully this much. Anymore, I'm gonna start looking silly. Yeah, I'm going to Germany. Maybe one time. I'm gonna go crash over at Litz's place. Get eat all her food. Zoom more. There's a teeny tiny bit more usefulness, but I mean it when I say it's my face is just gonna be in the whole screen. I don't know what that is, Equinox. I did run into trouble before though. Back when I was still starting and I wanted to have the Nova Beast as a VTuber. It was right when the Nova Beast released, I believe. And I haven't seen anybody been able to properly apply it into what I specifically needed it to do, which was converting the VRChat avatar into a .warodo format. So obviously I found something online which I didn't have to pay for, and I just so I can tinker around and try the product if it will work before I could pay for it. This is a fact I'm not hiding, chat. I'm banned from Kitomatic server, and it's a punishment, a brand I carry with me willingly and 100%. So yeah, you know when you aren't sure about something that has zero refunds, and at the time when you don't have a lot of money, the price of an avatar is pretty much what you would make in a week. I didn't want to get something I wasn't sure I could use. So yeah. What's the rule of kit bashing? You have to own all of the parts of the avatars you're gonna use it from. That's all. Cute speeding cutie. As long as I don't crash, that is. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a while, Pinky Kitomatic. I did come clean to you. I apologized. I said, is there a way I can make amends? I've always believed in giving people a second chance, but they had zero capacity for forgiveness, and I completely understand. I guess not everybody is as considerate or flexible as I would hope them to be. Nope, lifetime ban. And so that's also part of the reason why I stopped using the Nova Beast, because I did not want to cause any further ire. Even though I paid for it. I paid for the Nova Beast 4 days after I did the thing. Vesper says ended up still having the model around him though, considering I'm a Luna Beast. That's true. Crash into me. I don't want to crash into anybody. I already did before. It's not fun. I had to pay for their hospital bills. Busted shoulder. So, lesson learned, chat. When it comes to anything you're going to use in stream, be it assets, avatars, anything, please, 100% please, don't get it off sketchy websites. Work for it, buy them and make sure you have like documents to prove that you own it, because you're just gonna get into a whole lot of trouble if you pirate stuff. Anything in like involving VR chat assets. Yeah, pay for your models, chat. Pay for the assets. They work hard for it. Yeah, don't be like me. Circumstance dictated I do something that's really not ethical, and I owned up to it. It was a lesson I learned from. Gumroad is good. Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, what do you know? Vesper is over there, so let's get the camera working properly. Hi, Vesp. Yep, it's gonna take a while.
Hi. I'm only hearing you from your streamer now because you're not unmuted in game.
There. Oops, sorry about that. So there is Vesper, chat. Companion extraordinaire. Hold on. Getting her in frame properly. Where's the camera? Ooh, it's next to me. Yeah, hold on.
The camera.
There we go. So nice full view and then nice zoomed in. Vesper cam. So yeah, how was your day? Did you have breakfast, brunch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, had breakfast, did my chores, washing the dishes and all that afterwards. Nothing really too exciting.
I see. Well, welcome to stream. Beth said email yourself all the receipts. A good way to keep them in a folder. 100%. That's what I do now. I have like all the keys. I like take screenshots of the websites that I buy all my assets from. Just in case. Lesson learned, chat. It's terrible when you get caught doing these things. You shouldn't even be doing these in the first place. I understand like when you're poor. I'm no saint. When I was younger, I used to acquire music online and then transfer it to optical media. Right? And it was the days of LimeWire. Beth, have you ever encountered Napster and LimeWire? I'm pretty sure you have. Also, Kagebushi, good on you for making your own Avi. Doesn't matter if it's low poly or not. As long as it's a work of passion and love. Good evening, Ves, says Matthew. Ah, we have Matthew along. What do you know?
Hi.
100%. Yeah. Man. I could go on about this discussion about what's right and wrong, what's ethical and not, but I just know that I'm no saint. I'm just a guy trying to do what's right. Same here. I think it's predominantly because one, I did not have the financial means whatsoever to actually buy like the sealed CDs from music shops. Like when I got Linkin Park, I was like, how much is this? Oh my goodness, my small student allowance cannot possibly purchase this. So I just asked my brother, bro, can you get me this? It sounds cool. And then he gave me a CD with like marker on it, Linkin Park. I was just like, okay, thanks. So yeah. First person who's never ever pirated anything in their life or not paid for WinRAR, throw the first stone at me. I 100% agree with you, Beth. I was looking at Vesper's college books and how much they are. I mean, you are gatekeeping like knowledge, human knowledge learned and like condensed into book form, and you're making students of barely anything pay for them at exorbitant prices.
Yeah, my first semester, my books were well over $500. And I didn't even really use them.
Right? So if you are creative and you can find an online resource for it, and it's just all the same, please, by all means, do that. Yeah, it's five. It's dumb. It's so expensive, Matthew. They made on gold pages.
Yeah, and that was just for
I-
3 books.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, it's so
Not
pricey.
worth it.
Not worth it, 100%. Sorry, I closed my thing again. So yeah. Education at this point is pay to win. There is no better way to put it, what Matthew said. Pay to win. Gosh, I never thought that phrase would be so apt. Bev says my comp sci class hid pretty much every copy of book hidden on a server in the computer. Genius. We all added every class. We took books to the repository, which is, yeah, it is good. You give those with less opportunity to learn, an opportunity to learn. I'm all for all of us gaining more knowledge, collectively reading. What better to progress it, civilization than education? One moment, chat. It's the hourly. I'll tab into Discord. Oh man. Seems like Fluffy has indeed dragged me into Tarkov. Oh boy, that's gonna be interesting. Oh, speaking of Fluffy, if it ain't the gang on the drive-thru, we have Doran, we have Red, we have Rose, and we have Fluffy. Enjoy it for now. $50 look good for a lot of people. That's true. I remember. Sorry, go ahead, Vesper. What was it?
Yeah, no, $50 isn't worth it. I bought like a psychology book for like 150. They're willing to give me 80 back, which isn't bad, but at the same time, is it worth it for the amount I paid?
Right?
And my twin was taking the same psychology class, and my dad was like, "Oh, why don't you sell it to your twin for 60 then?"
I mean, it's. Yes. Oh well. No comment. I'd be mean. Oh, nuts, huh? Matthew says, I still have my Comcha book that is really expensive at this point. Comcha? What's Comcha?
Science?
Drac says, education nowadays is a business, not a facility to educate. But I will leave it here. Agreed. Beth was a poor college student. The bookstores would try to buy them back for 50 and turn around and sell them for 200. Skeevy. Blue is happy with the little upgrade they got. Of course. Enjoy it for now. You have to thank Fluffy for the boost. He gave me some funny keys to be redeemed later. So he's the hero, well, evil hero of the day. But Beth, now being aware of the uncrunchiness of the drive-thru, will surely, probably counter the blessings that they have just received. Oh no, no, no. Them having good bit rate? That cannot be. Yes, you see, Beth, long story short, Fluffy bribed me to improving the bitrate, and, well, as you yourself said, bribes work. Though me being the security guard on the gates, I have two pockets, the left and the right. My goodness. Here they are enjoying the silky smooth bitrate of 384 kbps. They can actually understand each other and listen to Doran's very much unique voice in HD. Bribery always works. You are lucky, Fluffy. You have caught Beth probably in a weekend financial form right now. So enjoy it while it lasts. Indeed, it's much more than 8. Also, hi, Minnie. Oh dear, oh my. I bet they're scrambling, worried how the tides may be turned at any moment. Hello, Gebus. How are you? Hi, Star Wolf. Stars Wolf. Stars Wolf. Sounds like a brand of something you can get over at a thrift store. Stars Wolf. But it's cool though, don't get me wrong, I'd buy it. I used to frequent those stars, which, those stores which are like dollar stores. I think that's what they call in the US. It's, here we call it Japan Home Center for the Japanese and American Home for the American. So like 90% of the items there are like $2 or less, 100 pesos. And it's such a delight just trying to find little bargain finds and whatnot, knickknacks, doodads that you could use around the house. We all know you're an enormous weeb, Kagebushi. And that's okay. Mystic is too. She's actually going through the rigors of learning the Japanese language, like officially. Ah, yes, Japanese. Oppai. I mean, um, sashimi, sushi, the important food. I got like a €1 store just on the neighborhood. I don't know if I could just tell if it's a dollar store. It's the same thing. The bargain bin places. Back then, I used to frequent not only the dollar stores, but the places in which they sell secondhand clothing. In my country, we call them ukai ukai. It's essentially a huge space with all of the clothes treated, cleaned, and washed, which has been owned by previous people. And you would be surprised about what you'd find. Sometimes you would see something from the 80s, like a genuine leather jacket that's just being sold for $4. It's like, yeah, I'm buying that. Stars
So it's
Wall.
like a thrift store?
Yeah, like a thrift store.
gosh, yeah, at least around here in the US, thrift stores used to be cheap when I was younger, right? Now they're charging like way more,
Not really.
because thrifting's become popular over here.
Ah, God, they're popular because they're cheap.
Sucks.
That's the point. Thrift stores, thrift stores. Oh, yeah, I can adjust this angle now, can I? So I can see Vesper. There we go. Much better. Now both of us are visible. You can see my long tail, Chan. There we go. Leather jackets from thrift stores don't last long. Mine had a bad spell. I guess I got lucky with mine, though I never really wore it. Because it's too hot here in the Philippines.
I mean, like, if you're talking like older leather jackets, they tend to hold up a lot longer.
The actual
Meanwhile,
like
mine
cow
can say-
hide.
Yeah, the actual cow leather. Meanwhile, my fake leather one from H&M I got as
Yeah.
for
Oh, the
winter coat,
synthetic
like,
leather.
What, 2 years ago? Yeah, the synthetic
Yeah,
leather.
yeah. They
Well,
start like
take a look at the
flaking.
pockets. You take a look at the zippers. It's flaking so bad.
It's flaking so bad. That's true. I think it's called PU. PU leather. What are you, by the way? The 4 ears feels familiar for a race I've heard, but I can't remember. I am what you call.
Hydrangea.
I'm a hydrangea, not hydrangea as I pronounce it. Apparently, people were making fun of that.
Hydrangea.
Hydrangea, a hydra by Tokyozilla. Love me my leather jacket. I know. That's cool. Exclamation point race. I mean, I'm a hydrangea from Asia, if that matters. Oh, hero, yes. I'm from the Orient. Tokyozilla's the best. Probably a whole lot busy with whatever's going on in their lives, but still makes fantastic avatars all the same. I met them in an event called Kemo Cafe. Oh, I see. I have yet to run into Tokyozilla. I need to thank the person. Beth says, sadly, I had somebody ruin one of my leather jackets by sticking a name tag on me. I was on. No. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
no.
Oh, shh. Why?
Adhesive. Or is
Adhesive.
it like name tags with a pin?
I think it's like it perforates the leather, so it. Yeah, you can't fix that.
Yeah, no. The adhesive will just perforate the other when you try to peel the sticker off. It's the adhesive. It's not like a cotton t-shirt either. It's like, it's leather. What the heck?
Sure. What is your favorite brand of chocolate? If you go type exclamation point throne, you can actually see what it is. Like legit, so you have a picture. It's called Tony's Chocolonely. It's delicious. It's not overtly sweet, and it's just right.
Have that chalky sort of feel like
Chunky.
Hershey's does.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was the adhesive. It had the horrible square. I mean, if it's the adhesive itself, there's like sprays, like what I use, which is the glue remover thing. I got tons of them from China. But if it actually peeled off material from your jacket, yeah, BRB gonna stick some duct tape on the leaking pipe. Are you working right now, Bev? Go ahead. Hmm. Ba, 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 da, ba. You know the chicken fried rice? Yes, yes, I do. No, I don't know the cursed variant of it. It peeled the leather off. It's time to peel some of the skin off the person who put that on your leather jacket.
Preferably trip them with trip them while they're wearing shorts so they get like rug burn on their knees.
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna trip them while you're in a carpeted floor, right? You're gonna go, and then it's like, oh man. And then what you do is you take out your little portable hand sterilizer thing, and then you go, like you spray alcohol on their like little scrapes. That's the vengeance that you need to enact. I remember seeing a video.
That's another layer onto it. Yes.
I remember seeing a video. It's so there are a bunch of friends, you know, like high school. They're friends asleep like that, and on his elbow is like a scrape because he like tripped earlier today, and he's like. Of course, his friends, being the fantastic people they are, decided to go rummage through their bag, get some alcohol, and like, yes. Oh, that was the quickest I've ever seen a person wake up, trying to formulate words to say. Thank you for blessing us with a good bitrate for a while. Of course, you know me, I am the ever benevolent friendo. Oh my god. What's this? I am looking through general chat right now. I wonder what's going on. Doran says, I spent 2 hours whacking, so I'm kind of tired, but a nice long shower could hit. Wow. Oh, exercise. All right. Oh, whacking weed. Sorry, it was obscured by my overlay. Crystal says, oh, my throat feels a lot better today, but it's a sluggish feeling. Mouthwash like helps for the post whatever soreness. I have something called Bactidol. What's this? You'll have fun during stream. Crystal is finally gonna pay attention more to classes. Good. Good sleep is good. Yes. I see Howler all alone in the gaming VC. Oh dear, what are you doing there, friend? I have not seen the Art Whips channel. Oh, Pieroglyphics. That's so nice. Ah, yes, just a tired old guy. It's like if me and Biff like combined. Where were we? Oh, let's read the chat. I have 2 leather jackets. One of them is from my late grandpa. The other I found at a thrift store. Ah, of course. Why did I have to mention it? Says Doran. Gab, what? What the bitrate? Wait, what? What were you thinking, Gab? Oh, I was just about the garden work that Doran had to do. Hello, bartender. It sounds like pierogi, the Polish dumplings. I had some pierogi. before, but unfortunately it was rather oily when I bought it. Just the store I got it from, but it was delicious. I got like the forest mushroom pierogi. It had like diced little edible fungus inside. Hello, Dallin. Oh my goodness, he's just having fun hell diving while I'm on stream. Leak has been fixed. Stopped for now, I presume. Congratulations, Beth. I'm glad you got that sorted. Have a drink. Whoa, not the foxes redeeming some bad life advice. How not to make friends. Ah, God, it's so simple. 1, be humble and polite. When you greet somebody, give them a smile, a natural one, not the forced. And then give them courtesies. And then compliment something about them. Hi there. Glad you could make it. Nice suit you're wearing, by the way. It's a little praise that they will remember a first impression. It was you paying attention to them the moment you got there instead of you simply presenting, exuding who and what you are the moment you're within their presence. That is how not to make friends. Well, one of it at least. The other, make sure you take a bath and actually use deodorant when you're in social situations. Trust me when I say scents are probably the biggest factor when it comes to first impressions with other people. Yes. How not to make friends. Bad life advice. It just turned to good life advice because it was just the opposite. Don't forget to offer your honey. Oh, Drax would know that, huh? Drax, I've been looking at your Twitter. The art that you're into is, I see. Here I am thinking that tiger bees are tiny little wholesome gremlins. Ah, gosh. Image shattered. I sure hope that's just a lot of honey and not something else inside. Oh, yes, I check each and every social media link of the people that are in the introductions channel. I also check your groups in VI chat if we've interacted with each other. How to talk to girls. Bad life advice. 1. You follow the age-old tradition of not shaving. And I mean every part of your body. Because girls, they love it when you look like a wizard. Not a bum, a homeless, ungroomed, lazy-looking individual. No, where you look like a wizard. A man of the arcane. A studious scholar. Simply caught up too much in his studies compared to socializing. So you go there, probably with not taking a bath for 5 days worth so they can have a lasting impression of your scent. And you gotta wear your flip-flops for maximum odor, occupancy of the room. Then you go talk to girls. That's how you do it. Bad life advice, chat. Beth says, I wish I had the wizard beat to go with my bow. You would look. Who is this guy? You would look like the Red Guardian, Beth. If you watch Marvel, that's probably how I imagine you. If you had like the facial hair, right, Beth? So it's just a shiny head and everything. Mm-hmm.
Yes, just throw on a little wizard hat. It's wizard time.
You know, he's gotta be a little crazy, like, but harmless, crazy but harmless. Like, yeah, Beth here's a little special, all right? So let's just, Beth, sit down, sit down. No, 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 we don't eat that. We don't eat that. Right? And then, like, you're in a restaurant. I remember. If you've watched Dexter's Laboratory, there was an episode where he took in a bomb into his laboratory. He took care of somebody homeless, and obviously Dexter, being a naive young boy at his age, despite his genius, wasn't quite aware of how things would turn problematic. Socks and Crocs are the best combo. Used to wear that every single day. When I still had a surviving pair of Crocs, I would agree that you would need socks, because if you just have skin on Crocs contact, it's not gonna be the most pleasant thing to have near your nose.
That's gonna accumulate a lot of sweat.
Yeah, it's gross. Matthew says, I just saw Dexter's lab when the monkey fall for. I remember that. It was like Mandark's pet, and yeah. I was told I look like a bald Paul Giamatti. I have to Google that. I saw the episode with Dexter. Basically went stupid. Oh, I didn't meant to like point at Vesper. So wrong camera. So it was basically stupid. Completely my bad. I didn't mean to. Whoops. Whoops. He put like. I remember that. That's so dumb, Nat. Dexter's Laboratory. I am so hungry, chat. I need to get food. Soon. Don't worry. I'll still linger on. Damn, and I can't stall today, huh?
Still gonna linger on for another, hour and a half?
Probably. You know, I feel like listening to music.
Half an hour, because it's an hour
Half an
52
hour.
into stream.
There we go. Chicken today. Actually, it's black pepper pork. It's from a place called Hawker 101. Chinese place. I'm a regular there. Delicious. Goes great with nice white steaming rice. That's a problem when I get
Actually, that's
hungry.
really good.
Hello? I start getting headaches. And then once the headaches pass, I start getting really sleepy. I don't have a snack. I can walk to the pantry while you look at Vesper. You know how that works. I'm gonna get the cookie. All right, let's go.
Yes. Oh,
Don't mind
hi,
me.
Geb's
Wait.
tail.
Oh, is that just my tail? Wait.
Yes, that's just your tail.
Let me do the smart thing. I'm back.
Gebsaurus Rex.
There we go. I'm just on my way to grab what needs to be grabbed. No, it's outside my boundary. I'm gonna lose signal. That's not good. Hope and pray I don't disconnect, chat. Oh god. Oh, that flinged me somewhere else. Where in the heck did I end up in? Okay. Oh, no, that's the piano.
So you're telling me it flung you all the way to the
Whoops.
other room?
It flung me to the other room, yeah, because I walked outside my bounds. Yeah, of course. I return. Except my overlays are closed. There we go. Camera mode. Hi, chat. You actually get to see how the inner workings of my stream work. Oh, I'm back. Okay, what did I miss? Hold on, my overlay reset so everything's transparent. Let me fix, link, enlarge. There we go. Where am I? Whoa, 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 wow, wow, wee, wow. What's this? Thank you, Biff. Oh my god. Hi, Kakaruch, my innocent Frank. As you can see, Bev here has ensured that the quality of the voice chat is at a lovely, crunchy level. Yes. Sure. Thank you for your patronage, good sir. As the guard takes the bribe, the tip, and pockets it. When you when you get your Africa Twin, what spec are you gonna get? I am aiming for the Honda Africa Twin. This, what's it? DCT Adventure Sport. There. Oh god, I wish I could. I don't know if I can save up for the Africa Twin at this rate, chat, because my rent, everything went up because of the new apartment. It's probably gonna be a few years away. So, yes. But we'll get there one day. Hopefully before all my hair turns gray. The decimal will live on, yes. Jeff sending me a message on Twitch. Oh. Hi there. Bad life advice. How to make and eat sushi. You know, sometimes I question, is all the preparation, the fine knifing skills necessary from these Japanese chefs? And I said, you know, we can just do it the British would do it. I've seen the toast sandwich. So why don't you just get your fish nice and fresh, still live preferably, going glop, glop. And then you just put like toast in between and proceed to eat it. There you go, chat. British sashimi. Bad life advice. Oh, it's sushi. Just wrap some, like, pad some rice on it, and there you have it. And another bad life advice from Dallin the werewolf. How do you make your vocal cords break? You go and drink a lot of nice honey lemon ginger tea every day, and I'm sure your vocal cords will absolutely dislike it. You will sound hoarse like you've been smoking 12 packs a day and been drinking whiskey as your water for 50 years by then. Bad life advice. Honey. Yes, Drax. I hope it's just honey you're munching. Yeah, what I did good advice. Vesper, have you seen Drax's Twitter? So,
And from the descriptions, you don't make me want to.
so what I've been noticing in the retweets was a lot of munching indeed there. That's what I can say. I'm so surprised. My goodness. Like God damn, Drax. So if Dax is hungry, chat, yeah, no. He can't attend the community meet. You gotta make sure he's well fed. Oh, speaking of hunger, where is the fruits of my expedition? I got me some cookies. What's this? Dewberry. Okay, I'll work with that. Oh my. We may all have to look at Drax's Twitter. Oh gosh, the Demon King has spoken.
Almost flew, almost due
I'm not Spanish, Drax is.
to do.
I mean, think about it, Drax. You are reposting it on a public space for a reason. You want people to see it. So it's counterintuitive for you to say no.
All the things that you promised with your eyes, I see in hers too. Now your eyes are red.
Read this. I promise to eat a drink after I eat. Read.
Almost blue. Flirting with this disaster because
Truffle potato sticks. Interesting.
it named me as a fool to be.
Yep. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have skeletons in your closet.
Almost touching it will almost do. There's a part of me that's
Okay, guys. Defensive. Remember, it was a public domain. If it was on private, I wouldn't talk about it. But because you set it out for everybody to see, and I'm not following you either. So it's yet a reminder that you set it for the public's eye to view. You can't fault me for that.
now your eyes are red from crying. Almost
Same thing I tell to people when I call out their groups. Like, oh, I didn't know you were into this and that. They're like, stop. Why are you reading my bio? Because you wrote a public bio. Right? Doesn't make sense, Fifth.
I mean, it's your bio's supposed to be information about you that you want other people to know, right? Why are you
Yeah.
going, oh, how dare you read my bio? Like, huh? If
Yeah,
it's
you're just-
public information, why are you getting so mad?
Exactly. Uh-huh. Well, maybe you can private it, Drax. It's not something the public can see. I'm not gonna stop. You can leave if you want. Simple as that. Yep, you're the skeleton in my closet. Oh dear. Sorry, chat. I'm eating some potato sticks. Whatever you say, buddy. Remember, it's in the public. No, not ruffle. Truffle. Truffle. I will admit, the flavoring of truffle is indeed exquisite. I just don't understand why it's so expensive. Like truffle oil, or from what I've heard, there's even like a truffle mafia. Can you believe that? A truffle mafia over some mushroom you can dig out of the ground. Yeah, true. Like, I don't like cater adult content on my streams, but I have nothing against what you do that's under the sun, as long as it's harming other people. We all have our own interests, right? Not once did I say that your interests were wrong, Drax. Hope you took note of that. What's your go-to fast food? Always has to be burgers. And my little airline food size thing is empty. Okay. Oh, what's this song? Oh, I haven't heard this in a while. Sorry about that. Now it's time for Reed's Redeem of Drinking. Gosh. Autocorrect is indeed a bit intrusive, isn't it? I mean, think about it, Kage. Burgers, one, they're really compact. Two, they can serve it to you wrapped in just essentially food paper. And it's filling, it's essentially nutritionally complete. And it's easy to eat. Like there's no bones, no nothing, just eat it. Convenient, fast food. Yeah, come to Texas. We make the best burgers, depending on where you go, that is. Usually, small restaurants have the better food. You know, I have seen video. Oops, what the heck? I've seen videos of things in Texas being supersized meat-wise, and that is something I actually really want to try. In America, I've seen steaks. Why am I moving? I've seen steaks that are this thick and this large, and I'm like, wow, come out of a buffalo or something. How about you, Vess? Do you have like encountered any of these supersized things I've been talking about?
Sometimes, but you normally that's things you'll like see in Texas, though.
Okay.
Like supersized foods, not very common. Again, I also grew up in like one of the like lowerish tax brackets growing up.
Oh, okay. Because here in the Philippines, we do have like the economy steaks. We call them like sizzling plates. It's like a pork chopper, something close to it, like a T-bone. And then it's like I think a third of an inch thick. It's almost a fillet, borderline a fillet. It's just gravy. It's served on a hot iron plate
Dang.
with some carrots, peas, and like the square carrots and rice. It's only $2.
Jeez,
That's the
really?
thing. It's only $2. Yeah.
Well, half the time the steak we get's like barely the size of my hand, like a palm maybe.
Oh, like the thick tenderloin things. Yeah, that's a little bit expensive.
Not really. Well, yeah, it's expensive here, but like a steak. Yeah, not that much bigger.
Wow. Um, Welcome back, Nord. I'm surprised you've returned. Got busy with work. That's a problem. When you eat something like chips, you'll inadvertently end up with oily fingers. And that is not good when you're holding controllers. Tissue paper is your best friend. As am I. I made eggs and toast. I keep on seeing Blue with his little endeavors with food, and it's actually good. Except the toast sandwich. It's not something I would eat given a choice, but if none, then it is probably perfectly edible. From my understanding of it, shouldn't you just get like the loaf of bread, the square bread that you can get in the grocery store, and get pieces and that's it? Just. The toast sandwich, yes. Or at least make the middle bread like with butter or something at the very least.
Yeah, no, I can't only eat bread. I
Yeah,
can't
I-
do that. Why?
Like,
Why?
imagine just dry like what's it, wheat bread, which is it's a spongy dry wheat bread. Yes.
Oh, that's misery on misery.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that a thing?
What's this? Oh my god, this chair is making me move funny. Have you ever have a sloppy Joe? Have I ever had a sloppy Joe? It's those like ground beef or pork on. It's like a chili con carne, right?
Pretty much.
I think it wasn't. Yeah.
Yep. It's just ground beef or pork, the sauce, and maybe some onion. I never was a big fan of the buns and all that they'd serve it on, so normally my parents would just buy like a thing of potato chips and I just eat sloppy Joe with potato chips.
Wow. Left, right. Okay, I gotta know the limits.
Yeah, Go Loco is there for I remember that.
Yeah, it's not that. It's the colliders. Oh God, no, that's AFK. So, whoops.
Oops. It's the colliders, sure, but
That's a colliders.
you lock yourself in
That's
some place, so
100%.
you're less likely to go. Zoop.
True. Cribbly Dinklesmith. That's a funny name. Hi. Yellow. Howdly doodly. Does it gotta have like the mustache? Dipping biscuits in yogurt is underrated. I don't see how that's a bad thing. Sounds good, actually.
Unless you're talking like the American biscuits.
Like the dry ones that are. Hmm.
Or
Gotcha.
savory ones, yeah.
I think when it comes to anything cracker related, it's either gotta be sour cream and onion, like in Pringles, or for me, it's cheese. Barbecue is fantastic too. Kaga says, speaking of hamburgers, I don't know if I told this already, but in a birthday's friend, everyone went to order from a different place and just sat in one place. Luckily, I had a Japanese restaurant near me. When we returned, everyone ordered burgers and chips while I ordered curry and takoyaki. I never felt so based in my life. If your friends sat in a restaurant for a birthday just to buy gas station food, you made the right choice of getting some Japanese cuisine. Americans just call it cookies. Ah. I found teriyaki crackers. Teriyaki crackers?
Oh.
Huh? I'm glad you approve of my decision. Of course. I love Japanese food. My auto subtitles are saying you're talking about something in Mannheim. What? What? I get I made it to stream. Hello, Wallow. Congrats on wallowing to stream. Okay, that's a perfectly cooked circular egg on toast, red. I'm looking at the food channel in the Discord. Nice. Lilies are bad for cats. They're very toxic. I didn't know that. Went shopping today, says Wallow. It was lovely. What did you get? The stream has been going okay. I was poking some fun earlier and not much happened really. Vesper joined me a little bit midway into it and yeah.
Yeah. Some chores to do, but oh well.
At least she's here. I missed Vesper. There she is. All in her lovely orange and yellow glory. Drax almost got mad. Hey, I can't fault Drax for being mad. Why? He did say he was a fire tiger bee, and you know how fire temperamentals are. No, he'll mellow out. He knows I'm just poking fun anyway. If he was paying attention to me in my previous streams, the more I tease someone, the more I actually like them, right? It means I do like the guy.
It's not a personal attack, just poking
Yeah.
a little fun at you.
Exactly.
I mean, heck, he even teases me about the corn ears.
You fumbled the bag when reading Doran's message earlier. Oh, when Doran was like whacking some weeds? Like, whack. Smash. Take that, you plant. I'm really surprised. Doran has things that's necessary to do, and which is chores, tending to the garden. Yeah, whack. There we go. Look at Vesper. There you go. Whacking the weeds. No, that's what I was doing. The whacking. See, it's what Vesper's doing. What are you talking about? He was whacking. No, Dorian was whacking for 7 hours. Gosh, that's a lot of. That's a lot of garden work. My goodness. It's adorable. Do you want to see it? There you go. It's the mini gib. It's Nightlight. Yes, let me zoom in. That was me when I was still a Nova Beast. Ah. Oh no, there you go. Yes, he's very much flexible. Vesper's little stress toy.
Yes, just.
Thank goodness it's not a voodoo doll, huh? There would be a lot of dislocations if it was. Of course, no, I was pointing out what was happening, Blue. Ought to flood the Philippines with those flushes of yours. Make them inescapable. Imagine this enormous tsunami of billions of those plushies. Amazing as it is horrifying. Geb merch. I don't think I can sell merch. I don't think I can sell plushies, but I most definitely can sell a few things here and there. Maybe, but I never really looked into it much. Like the brooch, the funny tie I have. I mean, this tie is the last remaining asset from the first thing I ever. No, this is the first thing I ever modeled in Blender. Yes, this tie of mine. That's why it has sentimental value.
And will forever pretty much be an iconic trait of Geb's is just the tie.
Yes. Chat, we are 8 minutes away and I don't feel extendy today. Ooh.
Probably because you're hungry.
We. There you go. What's this? Darn, I'm being bullied while playing Helldivers, so I can't respond back. I see how it is. I now fear for the moment we meet on the field, Doran. Maybe an accidental shot in the back might happen. I see. Probably it's gonna happen, Vess.
Maybe an accidental 1, maybe an accidental 5.
An accidental 5 shots in the back. 5 times. Each time I respawn. Oh, see you, Traxer. Bye-bye. Pierre says, sitting in my therapy office, glad I can pop in again for a while. Hi, welcome back. Minnie says, I must go. Time to make dinner for everyone. Having some curry chicken. That would be so good right now. Curry chicken on rice. Yes, with rice. And everything's with rice. We even have rice burgers here. I'm Asian, okay? But that sounds absolutely delectable. Minnie, I hope you guys have a good time eating food. That sounds condescending. Have a good time with the food you've cooked. There we go. Good time eating food. It's like saying it to prisoners or something. Rice burgers actually sounds. I forget which. There was a fast food chain that served exactly what you said, which is the rice burgers. Was it KFC? Gonna snatch some tea, boss. Enjoy the time in your presence. I'll be hopping in VR chat. I guess I'll be seeing you later in VR chat if you're free, Matthew. See you around. See you, Minnie. Don't worry, I have 5 minutes left on my stream. I don't think I'm gonna extend today. I mean, I'm still here. I'm not gone yet. Gosh, Gab actually sticking to 2 hours and a half instead of the 4.5 that he usually does. Oh my god, Red, you're making it worse. Oh my goodness, I'll look at Discord. Yes, the thing in quotes, Blue. Quick question before you leave. Where did you get the outfit for the avatar? It's simple, Gumroad. I just edited it a whole lot, so. Also, welcome first time chatter. Actually crying. Oh, that was Blue. But I was 100% in on the emphasis that it was garden work. Thank you, Kirito. Garden work. Seven hours of long.
So a little something before I leave and you leave, boss. You can get mad at me later, but
Yeah, if you were working outside for like 7 hours, I really hope you were wearing sunscreen. I hope.
Yep. Doran's probably all red and tired from all that whacking in the garden. All those weeds needed some taking care of. Ah, man. I mean, to be fair, it should be okay on, Doran's hands because Doran's into carpentry. Whatever that may entail. Now, what does my little soda pop mean? What is this, Matthew? My little soda pop. I won't search it. Oh, okay. I have yet to watch it. I will watch it one of these days. Let me first finish the latest season of Invincible. And then I'm watching with Vesper Kaiju number 8 season 2. And I have to do Unity and Blender work because there's still stuff on my avatar notes and yes. What? No, I cannot stream. Yeah, do you want to watch it with? I mean, what episode are we at, Vesper, for Beth to know?
We're on episode 3. We just started episode 3 before we had to pause it.
There you have it, Beth. If you wanna join Vesper and I in the little Kaiju number 8 time, you know which episode to stop at. It's actually really nice. It directly picks up from when Kafka was blank and bleep and boop.
We're not gonna give out any spoilers.
No spoilers, don't worry. Unlike other people.
Mm-hmm. TikTok.
Congrats, Pure Pan. You're watching Invincible Season 3. Where was I? It was when Rexplode was leaving the league or something along with the girl that can like shrink. I forget what part that is. You are at 2 hours and a half. Close up, chop chop. Oh, Pierre cannot bribe me this time because they are still working on the lovely piece that was at the Art Whips, which I only saw recently. Ah, yes, just me leaning against the wall, grass under my thighs and my feet. I mean, oh no. You know what? Fair. That's fair. I'm gonna reverse Uno that because it already looks beautiful as it is. So even if you don't finish, I would call it a masterpiece. But you know what? Let's do it. Come on, stream's over. Chop chop. Thank you for joining me today, chat. Stream's over. I'm gone. I've disappeared. I've been uninstalled.
Yes, I guess I will follow suit then. Hmm.
Yep, there you go. Vesper's gone. Stream's over, chat. See, let me go to the stream over music. The one I was listening to. I really like this. I've been found, age. A bit of a change in angle, okay. Oh. Chat, yeah, I know it's midweek, and most of you are probably looking forward to Friday, which is the day after tomorrow. But I'm sure you guys can do it. Just gotta get on with life, you know. Push, accomplish what you need to do. Get that bread on the table. And thank you for allocating a small portion of your time here on stream. If I seemed mean earlier, chat, to any of you, trust me, I had zero malicious intent. It was just me poking fun at friends. I do that with everybody I'm close with. Vesper, no exception. There's a reason why in my server, right? The reason why in my server I said the place is not for the faint of heart. Because I like teasing people. I like teasing people I'm interested in. Friends, acquaintances. So yeah. Because if your interactions with people you call friends are all hi, hellos, and good day, can you really call that friendship? No, it's just courtesy. Something no different than somebody from HR or a store greeter can give you. The essence of friendship is not really with the banter, the teases, the prods. What matters is, you know this person is going to be there for you, stand up for you when the situation arises, despite you calling them this and that. Called me a weeb. Am I wrong? So yeah. Geb, what's your favorite and least favorite days of the week? Probably Tuesdays. Because you think Monday is over, but you have 4 more days to contend with. And now my favorite. Gotta be Saturday. That's because you get to breathe and, just decompress. But yeah, going back on that topic. Wow, I completely lost my train of thought. Going back on that topic, if you are with someone you call a friend and they get insulted over little things, pokes of fun, I don't think that person is a friend at all, because how can you rely on somebody who's onion skinned? Can somebody who's so easily hurt by simple harmless words really be the shoulder you can count on? Pardon me if I sound picky. I have my standards to acquaintanceship and more. I jest, that's all I do. Wow, it looks like Golden Toast, a friend of Pierre, has decided to gift him a sub. Thank you so much, Golden Toast, and welcome to the stream. Emerald says, I like hearing you jest with people. It makes it feel like close friends, right? At the same time, I'm not as abrasive as other people would. You will notice me using very little cuss words around people. Maybe just the occasional S or F, but that's usually when I stub my toe, figuratively in games. Yeah, that's true. There's a difference between being a bit sensitive and just whiny. I don't cater to whiny.
Yeah, and even if I'm stop, my ears aren't cord. I'm just playing around with the joke.
Yeah, precisely. Look at Vesper. Tough old gal. She knows better than to let these words pierce her skin. Vesper actually grew a backbone, and it's something I wish more people would have. Wallow says, I want to curb my vocabulary away from cussing. What's this? Because there's much more creative words to use, like dingleberry. Same. I try my best to verbally maneuver around having to say expletives. Would you call my streams wholesome, Vesp?
Just wholesome for adults, it's not wholesome for children.
Wholesome for adults. There we go. Very aptly put. Very aptly put. Pierre says, I have a big variety of friends who are both sides of the spectrum. People who need a lot of reassurance and those who are happy to go F you when the time comes. I used to have friends too that I would constantly look after and reassure. End of the day, they were energy vampires who couldn't help themselves, even if you extend your help to them 110%. I grew tired of being around such people, so yeah. Sniffs Gebus. What, are you picking up my nice minty fresh bread?
It's really all you're gonna get anyways, Minty Fresh.
It's fun to search up century-old words and then randomly to confuse people.
Yes, like the
Century-old
nonsense
words.
analogies I make.
Clean up on aisle. Yes. You smell fish. Are you sure you're not smelling your own nose?
That's not a fish, that's a lizard. Get it right.
I did mean it when I say, don't you smell your own nose. Here, give this a try, chat. Normally, you're unaware of how your own nose smells, right? Take your hands and then, like, do a little pinch. A few times. And then slowly inhale. You'll be aware of how your nasal cavities are scented. And then quickly go back to it being white scent. If there's white noise, there's like a white scent. My nose is on your leg. That is just plain old weird, Pure.
Indeed is.
Yikes. I'm gonna pop a lurk to get some more rest. Hope you have an amazing stream. See you around, Golden Toast. I know, right, Dave. Like, what? Maybe they're a dog, who knows? Still, swat on the face. Sure.
Just I'm sorry, there's only like one dog that can really even do that, and that's Crosby, because he looks all cute begging for like food scraps and all that, but otherwise, get away. Get away.
Oh, that might work too. A little touch of, what, stainless steel, Pierre. Okay, that's... But yes, chat, we have extended. We're now 2:42. Legitimately, stream's over, promise. Come on. Go ahead. Don't you have hell diving to do with friends? Other games probably in your library waiting for you to play them. Places to be. Chores to do. People to chat or contend with. Applications to send. Leaking pipes to solidify your work on. I'm stuck at work, says Emerald. I'll be here as long as I can. Note to self, don't let Pierre walk through my magnetic... I have a magnetic board. It has neodymium magnets behind it, and like it's just gonna zoop towards it. Look at Vesper, so laid back. Yes. Because I said stream's over, I'm just gonna start listening to other music. Please, you can close my tab now, you can go ahead. Everything past this point is just extra.
And here I thought you weren't in an extending mood.
Let me listen to this song. See you around, Kodog. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, hi, Lance. Yeah. Oh, I'm still here. A chill, nice stream. Hopefully I'll catch it earlier next time. See you around. Now, Hashan. Still watching. Don't you have better things to do? Did I miss anything important? Not really. Yes, it is a wild gibbous. It's me. Just doing a bit of a cool down, if that makes sense. Litz, do you have Helldivers installed? Oh my goodness, this track. Are we talking about the Rama thing? Everything was fine until he started reading the book. Like, I still had control, you know, until he started saying things. Chat might be wondering what the heck is Geb and Vesper laughing about. Let's just say it's not the OS chat. I'm gonna get cancelled in like 3 seconds tops if I share it. But it's the funniest thing. Okay. So, you know how the funniest things are the ones you shouldn't laugh at? Let's all admit it, chat. The more you try to stifle a laugh, the funnier it is. The laughter may not come out of your mouth. It's gonna come out as tears on your eyes, though. That's the thing. So, how can I describe this without being destroyed by the internet? It was a faithful gentleman who wears a funny headdress and I can't do it.
Instead of reading it properly, it was just.
think of him. He was about to read a most sacred book, and all of you are in anticipation, right? Like, yes, this is a good person, you know. And then they go like, oh, wait, sorry. I was like, what the fuck? Oh my god, that's it. I'm sharing it on the meme chat. I cannot. I need to curse other people with it. It has to be best for posting it though. Yes.
Why me?
It has to be. It has to be you. So, because the internet loves you so much, they're not gonna cancel you. Me, on the other hand, right? Oh my god. Oh, she's gone. Oh my. Please do, says Emerald Hazard. Woo. I mean, if you're down for it, sure. I would be more than happy to, you know.
Why? Why me? I didn't agree to this.
No, she's not down for it. She's a little, you know, but she's not down. Don't worry. Look at that. Look at that steely gaze of hers. Eyes that will just pierce your clothes and ban you despite of the protection that you're wearing. If that makes sense. Sis. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I never told you all I wanted to say, and now it's too late to hold you.
Wait, stream is still going on.
So far away.
Because it's an old song I like. Also, I'm playing this so chat can shoo. Oh my goodness. Gibbs listening to 2000s and 90s music. Anyway, let's go back to how I usually am. This is all she knows. Uh-oh. I love the classics, huh? I can't sleep. Intrusive thoughts are running in my mind. Good night. Dang. Huh? time to do it? Space. I've always had this in my person. I just never had the reason to bring it out. Lighter. Should play some of the Nordic music and dance. What do you take me for, Lance? A dancer? I barely dance to save my life. Okay, hold on. To those of you that know where this is from, plus 10 points if you can figure it out in 5 seconds. So familiar. Nope, not Skyrim. It's an RPG. There you go. Here you are, little worm in your mind, scrambling up to gather yourself in the beach. You see a funny portal, a ray of sigils over at some carved earth, and then you see a wizard sticking out his hand. Do you pull it? Baldur's Gate, huh? Me and Vesper have yet to finish it. We're probably almost at Act 3. We're facing off with Keterik Torm. I gotta bounce, Cap. See you around, Walla. Sounds like Barbie in the Swan Lake. Hold on. See.
Gosh, I even forgot where we were at in the game.
Yeah, you remember?
About it. I don't remember.
Our save is still there. You didn't delete the game, right?
Nope, I have not.
Okay, good.
I know we're still playing that one.
Great. Then we have no problem. We need to pick up on our story again one time. We had such nice adventures together, a narrative to follow, choices to explore and see the consequences, the rewards of. So much interesting characters that we've bumped into. Yes. Finding out about the Blade of the Frontiers, the dealings with Miss Zora and his predicament of having horns on his head. Good old Karlach with her engine troubles. Let's not forget about the shady individual of a devil who keeps on showing up, and end of the day he wanted some help to deal with something lurking deep within the catacombs. Gosh. Hmm. 30 seconds until 3 hours, huh? Guess we did extend a little bit. Hello, Vincent. BG3 was my life rep.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, you're right. We're nearly at the 3-hour mark.
That's true. Almost. Astarion. Oh, please. Me bite into your neck? Preposterous. Unless absolutely necessary, that is. It's like he has an exaggerated version of me talking.
Yeah, he's a whiny little posh British boy. Come on.
I'll just ask Doran to voice act Astarion. Probably work. Oh my god, there we go. At least like it's time. Oh dear. Floating away now, are we? Play the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack. And have Square Enix double down on my stream. I don't know. I can't exactly remain anonymous while playing it now, can I? Unless... That's okay. Still hovering around 60 plus, huh? Chat. The Wednesday show is over. Why are you still here? Come on, skedaddle, please. Look at this fantastic list of other streamers you're probably following. They are vying for your attention just the same you're here. Oh, I haven't, Emerald. A reception check. Tom Cardi makes some awesome stuff. Tom Cardi. Oh, that's one. Yeah. Smoking Joe. Smoking Joe. One last song and I gotta go. Where is it? Where is it? This thing. Or was it this one? Damn. Gab just delays because he likes us all so much. Thank you, viewers, for having some sense. Sure, go ahead. Post it. Hello? Happening to Space Cow. Time for me to get working. No, I'll be going to. See you around, Emerald. Well, Hazard, sorry. Five more minutes, huh? There. It's weird seeing me not in cloth. I look so skinny in this. Wow. So I take it you're not hopping onto VR chat, Litz. You're going straight to you know what. I mean, I'm okay with that.
What's so musically relaxing?
My goodness, a most generous patron, I see. Hold on. Thank you so much for the subs, Groggy Cowboy. That sounds like you need some sleep. Go ahead. No, it's done. I want to listen to it one more time. It's so nice. What's this? Is it the same? Oh, it's the same. Two minutes stops fast and a half. How come when I have the sense of urgency to go, it's right when I want to stay here? Is it just my thing for a feeling of farewells and goodbyes? It still missed me. Sure, I guess I'll be seeing you in a little bit, let's, and then we can go play after. Another one. Thank you. As Kesa would say, big W to Groggy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm questioning the method to shoo away on stream. You'd switch it up with 10 hours of epic kazoo, man. Oh, this works. An older song, but I really like it. You want to experiment? We're currently at 60 viewers, well, on my end. Let's see if that number goes up, it goes down. With this one song. Also, I like practicing the panning shots.
Drowned and dreamed this moment, so overdue I owe them. Swept away, I'm stolen. Let the sky fall.
Nope. Probably this one blue. I've had this in my to listen to for years. No, probably more than 10 years now. Okay, use our hand soon enough. Still holding at 60. If it goes up, then it does. If it goes down, then it does. I'm gonna end stream regardless. Soon. Probably. What do you see? Wow, it did go up by 1. But 1 can make a difference though, Blue. 1 may play a role bigger than you think. As much as I want to stream longer, chat, I really gotta go. Well, Vesper. Looks like we have to pack up. We'll see you again on Wednesday. No, Friday, chat. No worry. Is what I would say if I was about to end the stream, but we have not let Vesper said her goodbyes yet. So let's play a Vesper-esque song. Hold on. That. Gimme. Salamander. There we go. Me and the birds. There we go. Okay. Best, please.
All right. Bye, chat. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. Make sure to stay plenty, okay? Hydrate. Catch you later.
That means me too, chat. Thanks for joining me in today's stream. As not really that exciting. I hope the Tiger Bee still isn't as ablaze as he was earlier. Well, check him out after stream, don't worry. And yeah, people I'm gonna see after stream, I will see you. People I'm gonna play with later, I will play with you. But let's take this day to enjoy and take care of ourselves, yeah? Don't forget your chores, your food, the person you need to contact, this and that, and everything in between. With that being said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Friday. I'll see you there, okay?